Hello, everybody, and welcome to Back and Forth. I'm your host, Gecko Man, and sitting beside me is our co-host, Rogue Gambit, the man who always has the high ground.
I could do this all day.
All right, well.
I could. I could literally talk about Marvel fight scenes all day.
Yep, we are going to be talking. This is part 2 of Marvel fight scenes, and we're going to start off with Captain America.
Shocker. Oh, Captain America. Let's start off with the first fight we see.
In the alley?
In the alley, when he gets beat up in that alley and behind that restaurant. Yeah. When he says, I could do this all day. What do you think? What do you think of that fight? I really like it.
I mean, it's like not really a fight scene, it's more him being beaten up, but
In a fight, that's a scene. And then Bucky comes and kicks the dude. Love it.
True. It is really good. Just showing us that this guy, being the weakling he is, he's going to stand up to anybody.
Exactly. You can't run forever.
Yeah, exactly.
Can't run everywhere either. That's funny. I didn't realize that both of his movies start with or have a line about running early on. His first two movies, not both of them, because he has 3. But anyways, moving on to the next fight. Let's see.
The next one would have to be when when he's fighting the agent?
Yeah, he runs after the agent.
Yeah.
Love that fight scene.
That's a pretty good fight scene.
Oh my goodness, it's so good. So it's our first time we see Captain America in action.
Yep.
And it's so good. It shows his physical prowess, right?
Yep.
He chases down a car. Also,
Which is impressive that he kept up with a car.
Yeah. Barefoot, nonetheless.
Oh, that's right.
Then it also shows how cars back then were made with real steel, unlike they are today. Where he stops the bullet with the thing. Just a look at him having a shield. So good. Then the kid that gets thrown in the water. Don't worry, mister, I can swim. Love that. and then he just dives down in the water, rips the guy out, and he thinks he's got him, and then
He punches the window, then rips the guy out.
And he learns that... Well, he basically learns about Hydra in that moment, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
That they are willing to die for what they want to...
What they believe in.
What they believe in. That's not what I was looking for, but that works. So yeah, great fight scene there.
Yeah. It was just mainly him just chasing a guy, but yeah.
I just think it was a really good introduction to Captain America, though.
It was a great introduction to Captain America.
But let's see, moving on, then we see him dancing and all that jazz, lifting up motorcycles. Then the next time we see him fighting, he's...
Not when he punches Hitler. It was...
Well, yeah, we got that. That's, pretty good and a good fight scene on its own right. But moving on to when he first infiltrates the Hydra base to get Bucky back, right?
Yep. What do you think?
Let's sigh.
There was a lot that happened during that entire...
Yeah. Oh man, it's been so long since I've seen this movie.
I know. Like, let's see. He drops down. He sneaks. What does he do? Doesn't he go like under? No, he goes into a truck. Punches the guys out. Then he stays in there, and then he takes out another dude. Then kind of sneaks his way through, taking a couple guys out every once in a while. Then he frees the prisoners, and then it goes into this.
And then he goes and sees Mr. Red Skull.
Mr. Red Skull. I didn't know he was a Mister.
Anyways, and we get to see him jump across the fire.
Yeah. Well, first he punches the Red Skull, doesn't he?
Yeah, and gets his shield dented. And then he goes and gets his real shield.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And then him and Bucky go in the train.
Well, no. That doesn't happen. No. We get a montage.
Well, there's a montage of them marching.
Then there's a couple of fight scenes in that.
We're not talking about that montage. Never mind. Not really. I mean, there's them shooting and rooting and tooting and all that jazz.
What are you talking about? There's a moment when they're in the base and he just takes out like 4 guys at once.
Yeah. Anyway, big montage of random stuff happening. Then they go in the train.
Yeah. With the Howling Commandos.
Yep.
Oh.
Well, that's a pretty good fight scene, I guess, in the train.
Okay, I mean,
it did a good job of like putting him up against something that he, we weren't sure if he could handle.
Yeah.
With the like Hydra soldier guys tech that was made from the Tesseract, and Bucky, he will be missed.
Well, I will say probably the greatest moment, in my opinion, in that fight was when Bucky held the Captain America shield.
Yeah, that was pretty great.
Pretty good.
Well, Foreshadowing. And then the final fight, I guess, with Red Skull. Is there something you want to talk about before that?
No, yeah, we go to the final fight with Red Skull, and oh man, that it was pretty good.
It's really good. It's a really good one. Fight. Just fit the tone of the movie. Fit like the character that they developed of Captain America, where he wasn't willing to let a single person die if he could stop it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it also shows Red Skull's character, like, willing to do anything to just deal a little more damage, before he goes. And we get to see him, the Tesseract, and sucks him and all that jazz.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that kind of does it for the first one. The first one doesn't have a lot of, like, fight scenes, it's more telling his story. It does an amazing job at what it's supposed to do. Love the movie, but not a ton of fight scenes.
Yeah.
So then Avengers. Anything in there you want to talk about?
Well, let's see. What we kind of get that fight with. He kind of comes in at the end of Thor versus Iron Man. He fights Loki. That was a kind of a nice fight.
It was good.
Let's see.
There's only one God, ma'am, and he doesn't dress like that.
That's not when he says it, but yeah.
Right before he fights him.
No, he goes down to stop Thor and Iron Man.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's right. What does he say? Oh, yeah, he shows up to fight Loki. What does he say?
He says, he says
when the guy stands up, right?
Yeah, he says, there will always be men like you.
Yeah. There's no men like me.
And then then Captain America comes in and he says, last time I was in whatever place Germany, and saw a man
standing above
everybody else.
Anyways, moving on to the fight scene itself. It's pretty good. Sees him going up against somebody very powerful,
way more powerful than him.
Yeah, sure.
What?
Yes. Not necessarily as skilled though.
Okay,
and then
true.
Iron Man shows up. But yeah, good. Showing Captain America being like, still a
patriotic.
Yeah, I was thinking more like, because he's not necessarily. He's fighting for just the people, not necessarily America. There, like a hero of the people,
fighting
for justice.
There it is.
In the American way.
I had it for a second. I was like, oh wait, I just forgot it. What is it?
And then, it's not really just him fighting. There's a lot of team fighting the rest of the way.
Yeah,
we get to see his skills in the battle in New York, and he becomes a leader, right?
Yeah. He does.
But we're not talking about character arcs here. So I don't got really anything else in that movie with him, unless you do.
Does he fight a little bit on the helicarrier? Yes, he does. He does fight alone for a bit. He fights. He stays at that.
He also loses money.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I was like, what does he lose money? No, I didn't know what you're talking about. Yeah. He fights alone for a bit against the Loki's forces for a bit.
See him knock some people off the helicarrier.
And just think about it, those are innocent people. I'm sorry to put that in your mind.
That's depressing. You also get to see when he saves the people in that building from the
that's right.
Tesseract. What are they called?
From the Tesseract.
From the Chitauri.
From the Tesseract. So what happens with that? Yeah, there's not much to talk about in that movie.
But Captain America Winter Soldier. We already talked a lot about that last time when we were talking about Winter Soldier fights, but we did not talk about the elevator scene.
Oh, that's such a good scene.
Yes.
Oh man, what is the most memorable part of that scene for you?
It's personal to me. I think just like showing so much of his character from the start, right? When they come in, it's not like he has no idea what's going on. Like he's picking up on this is weird,
Yeah.
And then it shows like his strategic side, his how aware he is, and that he sees like something's going down, and then shows like his growth as a character. Like he's not, or like not necessarily his growth as a character, but his character in the fact that he's not brash to start the fight. He still, he says, anybody want to get off,
Yeah.
before he
I
gets
do like
started.
that.
Like, just like shows, it kind of shows like that his character is different, because like he wouldn't have said something like that in the first one, but he also shows that he's still just he's not a bully, right? He's not just going to start the fight.
Yeah.
And then the fight scene's just beautiful in small confined space with so many people. Like, it could have been a mess, but they use really good camera work. They use really good cuts there, because they can't necessarily show a wide shot, but they do really good job with cuts, showing us what we need to see. Like I've said, but in fight scenes before, that whole movie just does such a good job of that. And it also like puts them up against people that aren't very skilled, and gives them tech, so like it feels like it's going to be a hard fight, but at the same time, it shows how powerful he is. Like, he disperses them pretty easily
and quickly,
dispenses of them, and quickly, and then, of course, ending with a bunch more people coming and him having to get out of there. So once again, shows his tactical side and him figuring out a way out.
Especially with the whole escaping on the motorcycle against.
And then he takes that out. That was super cool too.
That was really
beautiful fight scene. Great physics in that fight scene. Love it. Yeah.
All right.
Anything else you want to say about that? Because I want to go back it up a bit, if you don't mind.
Yeah. What do we got?
Let's go to the start of the movie. Very start.
I completely forgot about.
So, it's not the very, very start, but the first time we see him fight, right?
Wait, he fights Sam Wilson?
Yes, he does. On your left. The way the first fight scene on the ship sets the tone for the movie is so good, right? Right, it shows it's going to be this darker movie, right? It's very dark, not only themed, like not just the colors are dark, is what I'm saying, but like the music's lower. He's wearing a darker suit. It's very like stealth, right? It's very like showing this is not just a superhero movie. This is like a spy movie almost, right? So that aspect is great. We see him, the sound design. The sound design is so good. As you see like him dive into the water, so like it's so quiet. He climbs up the soundtrack, so just simple, toned down there, and then he starts running, just like knocking dudes off the ship, taking them out. Love the fight scene with the two guys when he throws the knife through the guy's hand.
Oh yes, that
so
was
good, so smooth, incredible camera work. We get a whole wide shot of him just running down the side of the ship. Oh, beautiful. We get to see him use his shield, throw it off the thing, take out the two guys. He punches his own shield. That's great. And then, of course, Rumlow comes in at the end and shoots the last guy. Looks like he needed it. So good. So good. Anything you want to say about that before we jump to Mr. Kickham?
No, I would have to agree about the whole... how he was able to stop the guy before he pulled the alarm.
Yeah, so good.
That was so good. Especially the way he was, how quickly he was able to do it, how like effectively he was able to do it, and how they made that look was so good.
So then he fights I can't think of his name, Mr. Kicks. Batroc, yes.
Are we gonna have another day where I'm gonna be naming characters and you won't be?
So, great fight scene, love it.
It was great. Great fight scene.
Just such a skilled. I don't know how to say this because I was trying to say too much at once. Sorry. Not only is it just like really skilled between both fighters, right?
Yeah.
Once again, I have to say, Chris Bernstead, amazing job with the choreography and stunt work there. But the camera work, how much of it is showed at the wide angle where you get to see the whole fight, so good. Like, love that style, of course, and you don't get to see it too much in American films, but they did a superb job of it.
Yeah.
And we get to see Captain America use, like, showing everything he's learned, right? Because, like, he doesn't just use his shield, he doesn't just use his strength, but he like uses his fighting skills, his wits. He just tackles him at one point, right? Like, I don't know, it just felt a lot different than you'd see in a normal superhero movie.
I liked the fact that Batroc challenged him to not use his shield, and I was like, oh, that's...
And it's such a Captain America thing to be like, okay.
I could take you out.
And then he saves Black Widow. Then we talked about him fighting Winter Soldier, blah, 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 blah. And then I think every other fight's with Winter Soldier after that, unless there's anything you want to talk about. I mean, there's the guy with the minigun, but we don't need to.
Yeah, I mean,
it's just him blocking bullets with a shield.
Yeah, and then, moving on.
All right, so I think we can go to Age of Voltron.
A lot of team fights in there, I think.
Yep.
Yeah. So it's going to be hard.
I don't think we ever really see him taking out bots, really.
When he's fighting Ultron alone on the highway.
All right, take it away. I don't recall exactly what happened.
No, right after Ultron had gone to the
when he's
I didn't even say anything.
When he's stalling him.
Yeah, and that was that was a pretty good fight scene. That was a really good fight scene against a very powerful opponent.
I have to say, the first time I saw that, like they had done such a good job with Ultron up to that point that I was worried for Captain America.
Yeah,
going into watching the movie, I do remember. I mean, it was one of the first Marvel movies I saw in theaters, and I just remember this like sense of somebody could die in this movie, and they did such a good job of just using that so well. And that fight scene, I wouldn't say it's like one of my favorite, fight scenes.
Yeah, but it's
for the fight, but the emotion it conveyed and like showing the power of Ultron. I mean, just like how strong he was, how he had evolved in a way to all the weapons he had given himself and everything. Oh, yes, very good. Very good on that side of it.
Yeah, and it. Let's see, because they fight on top of the trailer, and then Captain America got him into the train,
Yep.
And then they fight a little bit in there, but then
shows his willingness once again to like sacrifice himself for other people too.
Yeah, exactly. Taking the shots and stuff like that. Just all in all, a great fight between a mechanical monster. Other than that, that's kind of the only fight scene we get alone with Captain America. Yep. Everything else is just a team fight. Moving on.
All right. Civil War.
What do you think? I want your first opinion on the first fight here.
Okay, so when he's helping Bucky.
Yeah.
We talked a lot about what Bucky did in that. Oh wait, that wouldn't be the first fight. First fight would be against Crossbones.
Oh, that's right. Oh, I kind of forgot about that.
Such a good fight.
That would be considered more of a
stylistically. I really liked it. I didn't necessarily like. I didn't love the way it portrayed Captain America. I feel like it kind of backtracked on who he had become a little bit.
Yeah,
the whole start of that movie does a little bit. It's one of my problems with the movie. But I mean, the character arc of Captain America in that movie is good, but I just feel like it backtracked a little bit. But needless to say, the fight itself, the fight itself, stylistically really good. Crossbones Rumlow. I like how they made it so he gave him upgrades. I don't know how to call it, but equipment to be able to go toe to toe with Captain America. Love when Captain America just rips off the gauntlet.
That was good.
But all in all, I like the fight scene. I liked how Captain America was a leader throughout the fight. He was leading his group and then, told Wanda to dispense with the bomb.
Did he? Oh, yes, he did. He did.
Okay, but then moving on to when he helps Bucky, like I said before, he just takes out dudes. I would say, that was more showing who Bucky was.
Yeah,
it wasn't necessarily dealing with Captain America too much, but I mean, it showed him.
It showed
also saving some dudes that he was.
That first off, it showed off of Bucky knowing Captain America would save a lot of these people, and it showed Captain America still wanting to help Bucky after everything that's happened.
Right. So that'd be one where what it did for the story was good, but that's not necessarily the fight scene itself. We don't get to see Captain America do all that.
after that,
I think we'll get to our first team fight talk about here. I don't want to talk about the airport fight. That was just a big old
mess
with a bunch of people. We can maybe do group fights later in a different episode, but I do want to talk about Captain America and Bucky versus Iron Man.
Yeah, we talked about all three of these characters.
Yeah, we talked about all three.
Let's go ahead and move into this one.
All right. I loved this fight in theaters. This was probably my favorite fight in theaters.
Mm-hmm.
Like the first time I watched it. I don't think anything's quite surpassed it.
Really? Ooh, I'm actually very interested right now.
The camera work is so good. It does so well of like blending so many aspects, right? Not only you have Captain America like willing to fight Tony Stark, but not actually wanting to hurt him, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
You have Bucky just really wanting to get out of there. Like he doesn't really want to be a part of this fight, but he knows he has to. He knows like this is like he's come to the realization that this is his judgment's not the right word, but like this is like what he gets for what he's done, right? Like he feels so responsible for the Stark's death too that like he's willing to go through this, right?
Yeah.
And then you have Iron Man who's like set aside everything. Like he's like, I don't care. I think he literally says, I don't care. He does say, I don't care.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, there is this like silent moment before the fight starts of him just looking at it, and he smacks Captain America.
Right.
And then,
and is just wants revenge, like nothing more. Just wants revenge, and so but it does such a good job of like keeping that tone throughout the whole fight, where like Captain America is really just holding him off, like he doesn't really want to hurt him. And then like Bucky, he's fighting, but at the same time, like he's doing what Captain America says. He's holding back. You can tell. Like there's at times when he doesn't because he, in fear for his own life, but he's really just trying to leave. Like get out of
exactly.
there.
Like
the whole Iron Man's just lost it.
Yeah, the whole fight when Bucky's trying to escape through the hatch.
Yeah,
and Captain America's fighting off Iron Man. Iron Man launches the missile and closes the door. Yeah, that was a great example of like Bucky wanting to leave and Captain America protecting his good friend and stuff.
And like we talked about before with Iron Man, like they do such a good job for the most part with Iron Man of like utilizing the fact that he can fly. He has the like weaponry, but at the same time, he sometimes just has. It's a close quarters fight. He has to go hand to hand, just using his hands and thingies, blaster.
Yeah, I like how quickly he switches between punching and blasting.
Yeah,
it's so good.
And they use it so well in that. I actually don't. I guess Chris Bernstead had a pretty big hand in the choreography. I don't know how much on Age of Voltron and Captain America Civil War he worked on. I know he did a lot of the earlier stuff and some of the later stuff. I'm not sure how much he worked on those two movies though, but you can tell like it was very well choreographed.
Oh yeah. Well, talking more about this fight. What about the whole ending fight where Captain America, Winter Soldier are just fighting in like perfect sync?
Yeah.
And Iron Man's just taking so much beating.
Yeah, I really like it shows how much his Iron Man suits have progressed. Like he's able to take a lot more of a beating than he could before. Yeah. And it also shows like the fact that he uses his mind so much more, right? Of him, trying to time all the stuff and using his AI to find openings and whatnot. But then, like, just the synchronicity of Captain America and Winter Soldier is so good. The camera work is so beautiful in that fight. The even the lens flare, I'm not a big fan of them, but it's so good when it zooms out and you see it. Then just like the fan service they do with like Captain America's shield, him punching the shield and blasting off the shield.
Oh,
so beautiful,
so good.
And I love the aesthetic of like where they are too. It just makes for a really good backdrop for this fight. Yeah, I don't know what else I can say. Oh, and I mentioned the soundtrack; it's great. The best part of the soundtrack in that movie for sure is that fight.
Yeah, like all to the point where Iron Man blasts Winter Soldier's arm off.
Oh my goodness, yes.
So and then Captain America is just beating on Iron Man and just takes the helmet off, and like for a split second, me personally, I thought Captain America was just going to kill him, but
I did not.
for a split second, I'll say.
I mean, they do such a good job of, like I said, like showing that Captain America doesn't want to, but is willing to do what it takes.
Yeah,
so good.
But yeah, it's just an amazing fight.
Yeah, like especially when we compare that, like I said, the airport scene. I don't really want to talk about. But like it was a little bit of a mess, and the way that if you compare them, the way that each character keeps their character arc, and it like doesn't alter, but at the same time, progresses. If you know what I'm saying,
yeah.
But like each character keeps who they are, like it doesn't go outside of it. It's so well done in a fight when heroes are fighting, right? Like, that's very hard to do. All right. I think we can move on to Infinity Wars and Endgame.
Yeah.
What any fights you want to highlight? There's only really one I want to talk about.
In Infinity War?
Either one.
In Infinity War.
Yeah. Let's talk about one of your favorite fights here.
With Captain America.
Yes. Do you not know what I'm saying? Yes,
I know
Captain America is in Infinity Wars and he does fight. Would you like to talk about your favorite fight, maybe?
Not my favorite fight.
Okay, one of your favorite Captain America moments.
It was my favorite entrance, my favorite Captain America moment of him just standing there behind the train. The fight, it was more of a team fight, but again...
Right, we've talked about most of the characters, so I feel like we can go into it a little bit here.
We didn't talk about any of those characters except for Captain America and Wanda.
And Black Widow.
We didn't talk about
Black Widow and Hawkeye.
That's right. We did talk about those two.
Literally all the characters.
Yeah, but we didn't talk about Falcon or Vision, so...
we kind of mentioned Falcon when we talked about Bucky's, and Vision doesn't do anything. Anyways.
All right, so that fight was... It was okay.
Okay.
It was okay. I did like how Captain America did that little slide, took out what's her name? I forget. Was it
Proxima Midnight?
Was it Proxima?
It wasn't Corvus Glaive, so it was Proxima Midnight.
Okay. But that's all he really did.
Right. He just shows up, catches a spear, takes her out.
Well, technically, he throws the spear again, then he catches again.
Like I said about that fight, like when we talked about Wanda, I mentioned this. It just does a really good job of setting up Proxima Midnight and Corvus Glaive and how powerful they are. And it also shows, how, when you get surprised, you're at a disadvantage. Captain America is able to show up and take them out pretty handily, and then they leave. But I don't know. It does a really good job of introducing Captain America, as you've said.
Yeah.
Anything else in Infinity War?
Nothing else, because it goes into the big team fight at the end there.
Him running next Black Panther beats people up that did it, or aliens up.
What about Endgame? Captain America between Captain America. Was that the first fight between? I think so.
I think so, yeah.
There wasn't really any fighting until
they go back.
Yeah.
It's a good fight. Chris Burnstead, you're amazing. Does a great job. The fight itself, really good. Like shows like, I mean, what I was trying to do, show new Captain America versus old Captain America. And I don't know, that whole scene, it was very much just fan service, but at the same time, it's just really well done.
Yeah.
The fight, once again, just a wide angle, two guys fighting, really good.
Then after that, they come back, call him in, and then it gets to Thanos.
Alrighty, so
we can talk about this.
We can talk another group fight against one person, Thanos versus the big three. What'd you think?
I thought it was really amazing. I loved it. Again, like speaking of like, fighting an older self, this was like a younger Thanos.
Yep.
Not this experienced Thanos who knows what he's doing, and
it's more of a brash, mad titan, you might say.
Exactly. And this Thanos has no idea what these three are capable of. And like when he fights them, it's like he still like takes them out pretty
Yep.
Not as efficiently, but pretty effectively.
We get to see we kind of. I mean, it's hard to talk about just the fight scene without the whole story that's gone into it, right? But it does such a good job of, because in Infinity Wars, like, they failed against Thanos. It does such a good job of using that to like show, yes, it's a younger Thanos, but he's still so powerful, and he can beat them. Mm-hmm. So like you're just like on the edge of your seat, like, don't die, as he's breaking through Captain America's shield, or
I'm just about to like
just knocking Thor's Mjolnir out of the way,
Well, Stormbringer, but
Mjolnir.
Oh, does he knock me out here? Oh, I didn't even realize I thought it was Stormbringer that he knocks out of the way.
No, Stormbreaker's when he's trying to push into his chest.
But. Yeah. Oh, that was
so good. So good. So many great moments. You have Thor. So many great moments with Iron Man. Oh, when he shoots it and he blocks it with his with double sword thingy.
I don't know if that really makes much sense. I don't even know how he's spitting it that fast, but
he's mad. And then
he just gained the Inquisitor powers.
Yes, the moment, the umbrella lights are. Anyways, the moment that Captain America, of course, picks up Mjolnir and uses it, and when Thor reaches, bring it, and but Captain America gets it. That's so good.
Oh yeah.
And of course we get that beautiful shot of him standing there with Mjolnir and the broken shield. So good.
It was great.
Once again, it's great. Like Captain America's character arc, still like he's the same person he was at the start. Yes, he's grown in ways, but he's still that soldier. He is a soldier, willing to lay his life down, willing to do what it takes. Mm-hmm. Will fight even
to the point of like. His shield's broken. Yeah,
his shield's broken. He's broken. Like
and he still is about ready to just take on this giant army
by himself.
But enough about that, because we've went in. That's not a fight. That's just a scene.
I'm just saying, like that's what that fight did, right? It set that up so well. Anything else?
I don't think there's any other Captain America fights.
All right. Anybody want to do before we get to our final person?
There's none I can think about. Do you have anybody?
I mean, we've done most of the big ones. Mm-hmm. I guess Hulk.
We've done Hulk.
Yeah, I think we're ready. Unless,
I mean, do we want to do like Black Panther?
No, I think we're going to talk a good amount about Black Panther next few months. So maybe we'll save some of his for later.
We'll save his for the future. For the future.
Yep.
All right. So. Time for the big one.
All right. Spider-Man.
Good old Spider-Man.
All right, where do we want to start?
So let's just say this real fast. Talking about Spider-Man, I think we should also include a lot of the group fights that we're going to be talking about.
Some of them just being Spider-Man, but it's a group fight still.
Yes. So let's see. The first time we see Spider-Man is in Civil War.
Yep.
Fighting Captain America. Fighting Captain America.
Yep.
It was an okay
fight.
What
else did he tell you?
What?
Keep going.
He fights Captain America. He fights Ant-Man.
Remember that really old movie?
Oh, yeah. Then we go into Homecoming.
Oh, okay.
Unless you have anything you want to say about those fights.
Really good introduction of him. They show off his powers really well. They show off the acrobatics well. They show off his... They finally get to hear him talk like Spider-Man should talk. Just talk and talk and talk. And he kind of reminds you of somebody.
Yeah, like they do a good job of introducing him, but like you've said and I've said, it's a very messy. It's a good but messy fight. It's a good but messy fight. So it's a little hard to talk about without other things popping in there, which I honestly don't want to talk about.
Homecoming.
So the first fight we see. What is the first fight we see? We see him fighting the thieves in the bank.
Yep.
That was
the Avengers.
So good. I loved that. That was a good fight.
That's a really good one. It's that whole movie just does such a good job of like introducing the character in that fight. It shows his like his strengths and weaknesses so well, because like he takes him out. He's very strong. He's very agile and has webs and all that jazz. But at the same time, like he's like a kid. He's
young.
He plays around with them, and that's why he ends up stuff ends up happening. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
He uses his quippiness to help, but at the same time,
he uses it to distract, but at the same time, it will like.
So sometimes you got to deal with the bad guys. You can't just
but
play with your food.
But that's what makes Spider-Man Spider-Man. He's the quippy.
He's fantastic.
He isn't the fantastic Spider-Man. He's the amazing Spider-Man. And
spectacular.
Then I right after that, like he
unlimited. Keep going. What after that? What happens?
He saves what's his name in the restaurant. So it's kind of a little after the fight, but it leads into that, showing who Spider-Man is and stuff like that. The next fight, I haven't seen this movie in a while, so I'm having a bit of a hard time.
So I believe the next time we see him, he's learning his suit, going through DC.
Is it when he's going through DC, or is it
they go? And he tracks the truck, and
is it when he fights under the bridge?
Well, yeah, I guess there's that fight. It's not really a fight. It's very short.
Oh my goodness, that's what I say.
Hey, go ahead. Take it away.
It was a good scene to have for like
the chase scene's good, and then
that was a fight.
Yeah, go ahead.
Now we just switched places right here. It was pretty good use of like his webs and stuff like that. How he used his webs to stay on track with the van. There's not much to talk about that one, I guess. Zip it.
All right.
Then after that, he goes to DC, does all his stuff.
Once again, when you see his fight with Vulture, his youthfulness kind of gets in his way. He's a little too
it wasn't
proud,
a long, it wasn't a long fight.
He doesn't give the Vulture credit, and he ends up losing for it. Then he's trapped and he gets out. Then Ferry Scene, I guess, is next.
Yeah, the Ferry Scene. Oh my goodness, that was actually so good. Again, it was like a actual Spider-Man stopping a deal go down, and it was so good. Yeah, and it was like he uses quippiness. He takes him out quickly.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden, Vulture pops in, and
once again, like he doesn't necessarily think through what he's doing. He just
does it.
He just does it, and then ends up blowing a hole in the ship, or cutting the ship in half. But anyways, and so he loses his suit, and then we get to see him fight with his old suit. Right?
Oh yes, with his old suit. I was like, fight with his old suit. Does the suit come alive or something in the movie? Did I miss this part?
And oh my goodness, it's such a good fight.
Oh yes,
in the plane, on the plane, so beautiful.
Oh man, just the way he's just there, and then like during the fight, he still is trying to steer the plane away from the people.
Yeah, I love that. I also love the way it shows like his desperation. Like he's like, I'm the only one who can do this. Like he's so desperate. It's the only one I could think of. But like,
I wouldn't say desperate. More like he's like like you said, he's the only one who can do this, because nobody seems to like believe that.
Right. Yep.
But it's still like
and then his fight with Vulture on the ground, and then like the fact that like he then saves him at the end,
Oh yeah,
so good, such a good culmination of the whole story. But that fight's beautiful. I was definitely worried that like I was like, he's gonna fight him in the air, like he's like a ground level hero, and like they're gonna have this big air battle. But they did it so well.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
They had a fight in the air, but it wasn't that long. It wasn't that big. Then they go to the ground and they fight for a bit, and like even that fight, like you are a little disoriented of what's going on.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden Vulture comes in and just takes him out. Not take him out, but he's taken to the ground.
And then we go to Infinity War and Endgame.
Infinity War and Endgame.
So we get to see him come in and help Tony Stark. Then we get, I mean, there's not too much to see there. He just like catches the thing and
then chases Doctor Strange.
Yeah. But we see him, once again, like still just like following Iron Man's orders and just doing stuff. Then he goes, you get to see him fighting Thanos.
Oh,
magic with a punch. Magic with a so good. Once again, just like keeps his character the same, his humor,
his quips,
and his flips. And then he feels kind of strange, and that movie's over. Then,
oh my goodness,
Endgame. He's not in most of it.
Yeah,
and then he shows up. Sorry, he wasn't feeling right. And then he shows up, and we just get to see him finally turn on insta kill and take some fools.
Yeah,
so good.
There wasn't that much of him in Endgame, but we do have that tender moment with Iron Man and Spider-Man. Nothing else.
Just some fan servicey stuff. So let's move on to Far From Home.
There's some pretty good fights, in my opinion.
Oh my goodness, maybe my favorite
Spider-Man fight?
Maybe.
Really?
So we'll just go through quick because like there's just like him. He doesn't necessarily have a fight scene because it's like the big old monsters and he doesn't really fight them. Him and they're not really fight. Like they're just like saving. He's more just like saving people and holding them off. They're good fight scenes though, especially for like CGI fights. Okay, this is what I have to say. I don't like CGI fights. Most of the time, you hear me bash them. They were done so well in Far From Home. I don't care what people say. I argue with people about this all the time. They were beautiful fights. And for the fact that you have these big CGI fights and all we're seeing is like this kid swing around with webs. Oh my goodness, they're so good. Yeah. And it's just so smooth. And it all culminates in the final one. I love that fight scene when he's inside the monster and just like fighting all those droids off and swinging around. It is beautiful. You get to see like the agility of Tom Holland on full display, but not only that, the seamless wire work and the amazing stunt work. I love it. Like just seeing Spider-Man swing through the air is so beautiful, and they do it so well on that.
Yeah.
It is so seamless. So many just great cuts. So many the wire work in that is so stinking good. It is just absolutely gorgeous, and at the same time, he's having to like wrestle with the fact that he's been betrayed at the same time.
Yeah, and
like the emotion that goes into it.
Sorry, go ahead. Not only that, like he's also fighting basically an unseen villain. Like every time,
gotta trust that Peter Tingle.
Mysterio brings up his illusions and stuff like that. He's fighting.
I guess we have to mention before that when he fights Mysterio and like just gets destroyed, which leads to him trusting himself. Oh my goodness, such a good fight. But as you were saying.
Yeah, actually I was about to go into that if you just want to steal my thunder over here.
I would hate to do that.
So that whole fight of even at the bridge, the whole time he's in Mysterio's illusion, like so well done.
Yeah.
Like the first time we see it, he is being destroyed, not even by Mysterio himself, just being destroyed by the area around him.
Yeah, Mysterio's just like outwitting him because he basically like Spider-Man had lost that fight before he started it, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Because he had trusted Mysterio and now he's betrayed, so he didn't trust himself already. He already was wavering. That's why he gave the glasses to Mysterio, and now he's fighting him and he's not trusting himself. That's why Mysterio's able to beat him, and then at the end he finally like grows past that, and that whole fight so good. Like so much tension, so much emotion, but on top of that, beautiful. And then the final part where like
I will say that I think it was pretty amazing how just a normal human just took out Spider-Man in that first Mysterio fight.
Was a great villain.
He is a great villain. I love Mysterio.
Anything else in Far From Home? Do you want to talk about the Night Monkey? Well, anyways, moving on.
Why do you have to mention that?
I don't know if we were just on Spider-Man fights or if we wanted to do some Night Monkey fight.
All right. Yeah, sure. Well, let's talk a little bit about
No. Let's move on to Spider-Man No Way Home.
Oh,
where should we start? Where can we start?
Well, let's start with the first fight.
Oh, well, then let's do that. What we'll let you take the reins on this movie.
Doc Ock versus Spider-Man.
All right.
Such a good fight, especially for Doc Ock. Like with them using Doc Ock and how much he used his robotic arms and stuff like that, and like how Spider-Man is again using his webs throughout the entire thing, trying to get people out of there and stuff, and then trying to save what's her name? I can't remember her name.
Dean of Harvard or whatever, recruiter. I don't know what she is.
And he also he saves a small family in a couple of the cars. Yep. And just so good.
Yeah. I love how it shows. Well, first of all, I've mentioned before how much I love the entrance of Doc Ock. So good.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, it shows how much Spider-Man has grown. Like how he's just so much better at using a suit, you know?
Oh yeah.
And then the nanotech on full display. And then how he uses his mind to outwit him and control the arms.
Take control of the arms, using his nanotech and stuff like that.
Yep.
Then we move on to
Electro.
No. Yeah, we do move on to Electro. Sorry. I had a bit of a couple fight scenes mixed up here. Electro. I started with Doc Ock. Why don't you give me Electro?
So Electro, I mean, it's a pretty short fight scene, but we do get to the things I like that. We get to see him interacting with Sandman and like showing that like no matter what Spider-Man we see, like he's so willing to trust people. And once again, he uses his brain to outwit Electro. Takes him out.
Oh yeah.
He takes a tree out too.
Why? Yes. He unintentionally takes a tree out. That was a great fight against a very powerful villain. Yep. Of course, at this point the villain doesn't really know what's going on right there, but still, still very good.
And then next, I'm guessing it's the one you were thinking.
Yep, definitely. Doctor Strange versus Spider-Man. Yep. I just loved watching that fight. Like, it was amazing. Seeing Spider-Man in the mirror dimension, especially, was great. One of the few things I actually didn't like about it was probably how long it was.
Yeah.
Kind of wish it was maybe a little shorter or something.
So we talked about this quite a bit in our movie review of Spider-Man No Way Home. You can listen to that on anywhere you find this podcast. But
no, only on this site.
If you haven't, I will just say, yeah, I agree. The fight scene was a bit long for my taste. But
it was still very good.
Just so good to see two heroes that are similar in so many ways. Like, they both are pretty quippy, fighting great. And then once again, like I said, Spider-Man throughout this whole movie does such a good job of using his brain. Once again, uses his brain to defeat,
and all because he learned from Tony Stark.
Yep. I don't know. I feel like that's just kind of. I don't hear enough people say that. I love how much Spider-Man thinks in this movie.
Oh yeah, same here.
He's like he's not just this high school kid anymore. He's been through so much, and then yes, he still trusts people maybe a little too quickly. He still, he doesn't have as much experience as Doctor Strange and Iron Man, but he uses what he's learned so well. And he does that there and is able to take him out. Beautiful fight in the mirror dimension. Mirror dimension, it can be done wrong so easily if it's not really well done CGI. Really well done practical effects too. And
so pretty long fight again. But after that, we move into
maybe the greatest fight maybe
second greatest fight in the movie.
I personally,
actually, maybe.
I mean, I'm totally fine with you not thinking the same, but it is my favorite.
I don't know. Like, I struggle so much of choosing my favorite fight in this movie.
There's so many good ones. But they're in the apartment,
condo, whatever it is.
Happy place.
Green Goblin is by far possibly my favorite movie villain.
Yeah, it's so good, so good. And we just see Spider-Man.
Spider-Man gets
betrayed. He's felt that before. He kind of loses it a little bit, but he's still like holding back because he wants to save this person. Yeah, right.
And like, we get all these other fights amazing, like great, some great camera work in all of them. This one's camera work is amazing.
Oh my goodness! The zooms in, the zooms out, the long takes, the zooming completely out of a building and around. Like, I don't know if I had seen that level of like big scale camera work that was so good, because like I said, like the camera work in Winter Soldier is great, the camera work in Civil War great, but like the amount the camera moves and cuts and switches, but so seamlessly, just so good. And then like it'll go all the way in on people's faces. Like it'll zoom out, but it also zooms all the way in and just see Norman Osborn, just Willem Dafoe smiling through every hit, laughing him off. Spider-Man just grimacing, taking so many hits, so much punishment, but dealing it out too. And
yeah. And then the final fight in that apartment, just on the ground level, Green Goblin's like fighting, and I really love the lighting in that.
Oh my goodness, so good! Yeah,
it was beautiful.
The whole thing, that whole fight, the lighting, it's a very drastic, right? Because it's dark outside.
Yeah. And bright inside.
Bright inside, yeah. And once again, with the camera work, it's just...
Yeah, it works very well with these two type of characters. Yeah. Just like showing the good and the evil fighting. And it's like, oh man, just so good. Yeah, so there's that.
All right, and then we get to another group fight. Spider-Man versus...
No, we didn't really talk about these Spider...
No. But what do you want to say?
Well, I loved mainly how the Spider-Men were just trying to cure the heroes, the villains, I mean. Not cure the heroes, cure the villains. And you don't really see that much. You don't really see the hero trying to help the villain.
Yeah, the end goal is not to defeat them necessarily, but it's to save them, right?
Yeah. And it was very well done.
Yeah.
Like
so like as I think as the fight progresses, just like seeing them the solo Spider-Man have to learn to work with somebody who's younger than them, but he has more experience of working with the team to be able to like give them orders.
Yeah.
So seeing them have to be like, oh, we're working together. It's not just us versus them, because they start out getting beat, right?
Yeah.
And then they learn to work together, and it's beautiful.
Yeah, just beautiful. Loved the scene where they finish talking and they all swing together.
Yep.
That was beautiful.
Once again, incredible camera work on like a huge scale, right? It's going up and down this statue. But at the same time, like, zooms in on these fights when one Spider-Man's fighting, Electro, whether he's fighting Doc Ock saving them.
Yeah.
All of it, just so well done.
And then, is there anything else you want
to... I think that's it. We could get to the big one.
This is the one that I have trouble with trying to decide if this is the favorite one or if the apartment is my favorite one, because they're both really good.
Yeah.
This one has probably my favorite scene in it. So it's Green Goblin versus Spider-Man. Just this time, our Spider-Man is just not pulling his punches.
He's out of control.
Yeah.
He's lost it. He's ready. He wants revenge. He's like Iron Man before. We were talking about an Iron Man in Civil War, right?
Yeah.
He doesn't care anymore. And watching him just rip apart his glider and then come crashing down. Amazing.
Yeah.
And then like I said, the other one I like more just because of the camera work. Like
Yeah.
but this fight, the emotion, so good.
Like
The sound design, so good.
yeah.
Every hit just echoing.
And then every hit echoing. The hit when he punches the shield itself shows like, oh man, he could actually kill him.
But at the same time, Green Goblin just
laughing it on. And even with these powerful hits too, like and just through the entire moment for
his
me,
face. Oh my goodness. Go ahead.
Through that entire fight scene, I think why I love it so much was I had no idea if the Spider-Man was going to actually kill him.
Especially because, like I said in our review, there's an erase button right there, right? They didn't have to have him not kill Green Goblin and be a problem in the MCU, right? Because he's literally everyone's about to forget that he even exists. But you know they're not going to do that. That's not the character development that we've been watching for the last 2.5 hours.
Exactly.
And it's so good.
Yeah, just
bringing us right up to the edge, ready for it to happen. And then Spider-Man, and Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man is he's older, like we said before, has been through a little bit more. He knows where this leads. Yeah,
and then just he gets stabbed, and then it goes through that. So it's an amazing fight scene. I love this fight scene. Anything else we should say about this fight?
No, I think we're good.
One thing I do want to point out, and we did talk about this a little bit. I don't know how much we talked about this in the Doctor Strange movie review, but I still love Green Goblin's outfit design. Just want to point that out.
So good. So I think we talked about that a lot. We probably need to move on to get through some other stuff pretty quickly. So let's move into Obi-Wan Kenobi expectations. I'll just start because I'm going to have very short. I have no expectations for this. I have, if you've been paying attention, I haven't watched any trailers. I know nothing about it. My expectations are that it's probably going to be bad. But for more detailed explanation, we'll move over to Gecko.
Thank you. So first off, I just want to point out that because of Obi-Wan, I have been focused on nothing else than just Obi-Wan, trying to see if it's actually going to be good. Something that I've noticed that I've actually haven't talked about is there may be a new Jedi we'll see.
Interesting.
So I'm wondering who it's going to be. I'm kind of curious. If you want to know who's playing it, it's someone who played in Eternals.
Okay. I mean,
the one dude who's like has all the movies and stuff. I forget his name.
Oh, okay. I think he's a fine actor. I don't have a problem with that. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what to expect.
Yeah.
Because like you said, he's a fine actor, played in a terrible movie.
Right.
All that. Other than that, like, I just don't want Darth Vader to see Obi-Wan.
If you had to guess whether they would meet, what would you say? Yes or no?
If they were to meet.
No. If you were have to say yes, they will meet in this show, or no, they will not, which one would you think is going to happen? Not what you want.
Yeah, I think they're gonna meet. And I don't want that to happen.
All right.
But they could just be tricking us out. They could have not, but I think they're going to meet, and I'm going to be very sad when it happens.
Do you have any expectations of anybody that we might know from other things popping up that we don't expect?
We are going to be seeing Inquisitors.
Okay.
We're going to be seeing at least one new Inquisitor, maybe two new Inquisitors. Okay. We're going to see a couple old Inquisitors that we've seen before, but this is early on. We're going to be I can't talk today. We've seen the main amount of Inquisitors in Rebels. Okay. We're going to see a couple of those Inquisitors.
Okay.
But what I'm curious about is who are these new Inquisitors, and are they someone I might actually want to be?
Okay.
I won't like it if they're in it, but yeah.
Any good guys we might see that from Jedi?
Like I said, we might get a new Jedi. Possibly. Don't know who.
No.
Don't know if he is a new Jedi. It could just be a dude who's going to be there. I don't know. Don't know why they would show him, but there. So I don't know. I have this strange feeling that it's just going to be Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Okay.
Which might be interesting.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I don't think it's going to be.
Oh, like at the time period that this is set, like there's not many Jedi alive, right?
Yeah, but there would be more Jedi alive than there were when Luke Skywalker was old.
But like the only ones I can think. So like you don't think Ahsoka's going to show up?
I don't think she's going to
show up.
Maybe there's a chance he might show up because, I mean, Yoda and Obi-Wan are kind of like bros.
And you don't think Luke's going to show up? I don't know exactly how much time's passing in the show. So
it's 10 years after the fall of the Jedi.
I don't know what that means. Anyways,
it means a lot of times. Other than that, I think Luke is going to show up, but we're going to only see him like in a couple scenes, like because I think he's going to be like what, 10 years old?
Yeah, okay,
something like that. I don't know. Maybe 11 years old. I don't know. But I do think we're going to get a lot of. I think I know a couple people who I think are going to get a lot of screen time.
Grogu.
No, Grogu, I don't think will be in this show. Will be, what's their names? Uncle Owen. There we go. Owen and what's her name? Yeah. I cannot.
You think they're going to have a good amount of screen time?
I think they're going to have a good amount of screen time. I don't know how, I don't know if maybe something's going to happen between the two to between at least Owen and Obi-Wan to show that hey, these two are not on good terms or anything like that.
Do you think anyone from the other TV shows will show up? Mandalorian, Boba Fett.
Maybe Boba Fett I don't see showing up, but they could have him pop up or have some reference.
Would he be with the Tusken Raiders at the time of this?
No. It was after episode 6. This is in between episode 3 and episode 4.
Yeah. I'm getting my time. Oh yeah.
Maybe we'll see.
Jango Fett show up? No, he's dead.
He's dead. He might show up. I don't think he will. Maybe he will. He might show up. Because.
Well, no. Okay.
What?
I'm just thinking of where Mando would be at this time.
Mando is still quite young. Yeah, and he's on Mandalore. He's learning.
Because we know. Some Mandalorian stuff's coming. Do you think they'll tease that at all in the show, or do you think it's gonna stick with?
That's the thing in Obi-Wan Kenobi. In this show, it's gonna be. This is set between episode 3 and 4. Like I've said, Mandalorian is set so far in the future.
But stuff's still happening on Mandalore. They're always fighting up there.
Yeah, they might tease the whole raining, whatever they called it, the whole bombing of Mandalore. Okay. They might talk about that a little bit.
All right. Anything else?
I think that's about it that I want to say about Obi-Wan. I haven't followed anything else for any other Star Wars shows or to know what's going to happen. So,
alrighty.
Tune in next week.
All right. And but I guess as we get into upcoming and we talk about that, you will be doing what?
Why don't you tell us about Marvel and I will.
Well, since we just talked about Obi-Wan and it's coming out this week, what are you doing for Obi-Wan specifically?
Oh, that's right. You are so right. I actually forgot about that. Since Obi-Wan's coming out on a Friday, we
release things, not on Fridays.
Yeah, we release things on Wednesdays. Get it right. No, don't get it right. Don't get it right. So I will be personally just doing a small instant judgment, basically.
Okay.
I will be releasing something small like that. I don't know if Rogue over here is going to join me.
I probably won't be able to, but I will be talking about them on the next episodes a little bit.
Yeah, we will talk about them in our main episodes here, but just so you guys can have a quick something, I'll be releasing small little trailers if they all do come out on Fridays, which I think they will be coming out on Fridays.
All right, and then anything else in the Star Wars world coming?
Like I said, I haven't been following anything else. I've just been super focused on Obi-Wan Kenobi.
All right, well, then we'll get into Marvel because there was quite a bit.
Why does there have to be quite a bit?
I don't know. All right, first off, we'll start with the She-Hulk trailer we talked about a little bit.
Yes.
So yeah, CGI looked garbage. The story looks interesting. Hoping for a few things.
We'll
talk about rumors later, but
do we have an idea of who the villain is? Did we talk about?
So what we know about the villains through the trailer, we know Titania will be showing up as one of the main villains.
Okay.
It looks like the Wrecking Crew will probably show up.
That's right.
And then that's something that I thought was going to be big. Like there was this scene where clearly there's these people with Wrecking Crew type things, crowbar, chains, and I was like, oh, the Wrecking Crew. Nobody that I've ever seen mentioned that might be the Wrecking Crew. So maybe I'm wrong, but that's my theory. We know that she'll be a lawyer representing superheroes.
Yeah.
And we know another lawyer that represents superheroes.
So you think.
We'll talk about rumors later, like I said, just to trees on that there.
Yep.
There's also a prison that Abomination's in. So we might see Abomination as a villain. But the prison looks very similar to the Cube.
Oh.
So I'm kind of excited to see where that goes. Fantastic Four. And then, that's about it for that. The CGI looks terrible. They tried to do this whole half practical effects, half CGI thing. It just looked bad. I don't know. Anyways, moving on. There was another trailer released today as we record. Thor: Love and Thunder.
Okay.
All right, or yesterday, I guess. First of all, we learned what the runtime of the movie is going to be.
Really?
Yeah, 2 hours and 20 minutes. It's going to be a longer movie. I did not expect that. But so in this trailer, we got to see Gore finally, what he looks going to look like. Personally, I think he looks really good. It looks like he's going to look kind of different once he gets the sword than before he gets the sword. I'm not sure exactly, but I really like the style. It looks like it's gonna be showing. I like the color palette. I like Taika Waititi, he does such a good job with like bright colors and using them, and then Gore is very black and white and like the way he looks, and it looks like they're gonna have this very big drastic change from like very bright vibrant colors of like Olympus and stuff versus this black and white villain. I don't know, it looks like it's gonna be pretty cool in the color aspect.
Okay.
The sound design of the trailer, he once again used classic rock songs, and I like them. I like the way that he used that. And then we get to see kind of how the humor is going to be. I think I like the humor. Taika Waititi's just so good at using humor.
Yeah.
I didn't find Thor Ragnarok. I don't think Thor Ragnarok's a great movie, but it has its funny parts,
Yeah.
And I think it's going to be, I hope he leans into the humor a little bit more. Because like that's what he's so good at. And I feel like what was wrong with Thor Ragnarok is it tried to be serious at the wrong times. It either needed to be a serious movie with good humor or it needed to be a funny movie that didn't really take itself seriously. But it tried to take itself seriously, especially with the villain and stuff. If they can really like have just this movie that really leans into the humor and then has this villain that's so like ruthless,
yeah,
I think that could be really good. But anyways, we learned a lot. I don't want to give anything away, but yeah, it was actually an okay trailer.
Good. Anything on what's her name?
What's her name? Valkyrie,
Lady
Jane
Thor?
Foster.
Jane Foster.
Yeah, we see her. I don't want to give anything away, but we definitely see her.
I just don't want to any new scenes with her.
Yeah, we get to see lots of new stuff with her. Get to see her doing stuff. Get to see her talking to Thor. Get some good humor in there, about their relationship and whatnot. It was pretty funny.
New stuff with Valkyrie as well.
Yeah, we get to see a couple of new scenes. We saw her on her little horse, Pegasus.
little horse, he's moving his hands up and down.
And we get to see her fighting a little bit. I don't want to give anything away, but it was very interesting. We get to see some of the other gods that are probably going to get killed.
All right. Here's a couple questions now.
All right.
number one, I'll make it easy for you. Number one, Guardians of the Galaxy, we see more of.
There was way less of them in this trailer.
Really?
Yeah. So like I said before, I'm pretty sure they're not going to be much in the movie. It's probably going to be the first 10 minutes of the movie, and then they're going to be gone. Maybe a little more than that, but that's what I'm guessing.
Okay. Number two, this might be going into rumors, but you know what? We'll save it for rumors.
All right.
We'll save it for rumors.
So yeah, I think that kind of does it for what we know for that I'm willing to give away. Don't look at that, by the way.
I'm not looking at anything. I'm looking at my own.
And then we'll move on to Wakanda Forever. Just real quick, we learned a little bit about Namor when one of the writers talked with some magazine. I don't remember, but we learned that Namor is not going to have the same origin as he has in the comics. They want to change it a little bit, try to make him kind of separate from Aquaman a little bit.
That's good.
They don't want to just feel like a Marvel's version of Aquaman, so they're going to change his origin. He's going to be from an Aztec country, not like it's still going to be Atlantis, but Atlantis isn't going to be in Europe where it's normally thought to be, but it's going to be this Aztec country.
Okay.
Or Aztec city. That's about all we know about that. Oh no, we'll do that in rumors because I'm not sure if that's true. I'm 99% sure, but I'm not 100%. But yeah, that does it for Marvel. All right. And forth. What are we doing next week? Oh well, first of all, we're hoping to get our movie review for. At least I'm hoping to get our movie review for Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness out this week.
That's right.
And then our movie review for Ford vs. Ferrari will be coming out at the start of June.
Yep. So
a couple more things confirmed, actually. I forgot. There was a confirmation of the Echo show coming to Disney Plus and Daredevil Season 4 coming to Disney Plus.
Oh, okay.
So those are confirmed. There's a lot of rumors about those I'll talk about later. But yeah. And then we will be talking Obi-Wan next week and bottom 5. Not our top 5, our bottom 5
of
Marvel and Star Wars things. You'll have to tune in to hear what it's all about. But
all right. Yeah, and then after that, like you said, we have our movie reviews coming. And then this Thursday, just to remind you all, I am doing I said in the after party, but for those of you who don't listen to our after party, I know there's a couple of you out there. Listen to it. I will be streaming on Twitch this Thursday, possibly around 5 o'clock. Actually, no, the good chances it'll be around 5 o'clock, maybe a little earlier. But I'll be streaming a game called Tin Can. If you want to learn more about that, just stay tuned for it on Thursday. Maybe this guy will be in on it as well if he doesn't, want to.
Yeah, I won't be there.
If he doesn't want to, skip it like he always does with my stuff.
Man's got to do what he's got to do. But we will see you all next week.
Don't put yourselves inside a box.